Hi, you all. We're continuing with our topic of interruptions in weight loss. There are 4 identifying characteristics that Dr. Simeons came out with to discuss regarding interruptions in weight loss. I was going to do the menstruation one today, but I'm going to go to the longer one first and keep the menstruation one for a time that I don't have a full 30 minutes to make a video. And I do have 30 minutes today. Okay, so briefly, let me go over some numbers, which I have closed out. All right, I found them. Good. Um, Today I got on the scale and it said minus zero point 0.4. So that's okay. I I thought it was going to be better. I really did. So I'm a little disappointed. But hey, I'm going down. I'm going down. It was almost a half a pound, so I should not be too discouraged. Um, and I'm just going to stick with the plan. Going to stay with it. Keep on chugging, stay with the plan, stay with the plan. I did notice yesterday that, just as a side note, around 1 o'clock, I started to become hungry, and I'm never hungry on this diet. So I thought, oh, geez, like I don't, I might have to start adjusting something, or maybe I do have to split and eat meals twice a day, or if I start eating at 1, am I going to be able to, that be my only meal for the day? And then I realized I hadn't done my drops for the second half, for the middle part of the day. And then I took my drops and I was fine until like 3:30 when I normally have my lunch. So really, for me, they work. They work. And I could tell myself that it's psychological that they work, except for I have experiences like that where I'm like, oh no, I am hungry. I feel hungry, not just I want to eat, but like I feel hungry. And then I realized, oh dang, I never took my drops this afternoon. So there you go. Proof for me anyway that the HCG drops that I use work in terms of definitely hunger suppression. Um, all right, so let's go on and start on our topic because it's a little bit lengthy. And what was that? That was day 6. I haven't done an overall how much I've lost altogether. I'll start doing that since it'll be 1 week tomorrow. Wow, time goes by. I can't believe it's been a week already. It'll be day 7 tomorrow. That's amazing. Okay. Um, Now, this one is broken into many different categories here. So we have um, reaching a former level. I'll just kind of do each one of these little paragraphs on their own as like a sub, rather than just doing subcategories, because I only do one video at a time. So every video will just have its own topic, and it doesn't matter if it's a subcategory or if it's part of a grander picture. So I'm no longer going to say, here, these are the different ways. Anyway, another reason for a potential interruption in the weight loss are dietary errors. Now, I was planning on doing the menstruation one today, which I had read through, so bear with me because I haven't read this in a while. I read this a while ago, and I believe I have another video on it from years ago, but I'm going to read it again. Keep you up to date. Here we go. It says, any interruption in the normal loss of weight which does not fit perfectly into one of those categories is always due to some possibly very minor dietary error. Similarly, any gain of more than 100 grams is invariably the result of some transgression or mistake unless it happens on or about the day of ovulation or during the 3 days preceding the onset of menstruation. Okay, so we'll talk about that when we talk about menstruation, how that can affect the scale. In which case, if one of those situations occurs, then ignore the fluctuation in weight because it has to do with menstruation. In all other cases, the reason for the gain must be established at once. The patient who frankly admits that he has stepped out of his regimen when told that something has gone wrong is no problem. He is always surprised at being found out because unless he has seen this himself, he will not believe that a salted almond, a couple of potato chips, a glass of tomato juice, or an extra orange will bring about a definite increase in his weight on the following day. Very often he wants to know why extra food weighing 1 ounce should increase his weight by 6 ounces. We explain this in the following way. Under the influence of HCG, the blood is saturated with food, and the blood volume has adapted itself so that it can only just accommodate the 500 calories, which come from the intestinal tract in the course of the day. Any additional income, however little this may be, cannot be accommodated, and the blood is therefore forced to increase its volume sufficiently to hold the extra food, which it can only do in a very diluted form. Thus, it is not the weight of what is eaten that plays the determining role, but rather the amount of water which the body must now retain to accommodate this food. This can be illustrated by mentioning the case of salt, of which salt will be a whole nother topic, side note, in another video. But let's talk about it for a second. In order to hold 1 teaspoon of salt, the body requires 1 liter of water, as it cannot accommodate salt in any higher concentration. Thus, if a person eats 1 teaspoon of salt, his weight will go up by more than 2 pounds as soon as his salt is absorbed from his intestines. To this explanation, many patients reply, well, if I put on that much every time I eat a little extra, how can I hold my weight after the treatment? It must therefore be made clear that this only happens as long as they are under HCG. When treatment is over, the blood is no longer saturated and can easily accommodate extra food without having to increase its volume. Here again, the professional reader will be aware that this interpretation is a simplification of an extremely intricate physiological process which actually accounts for the phenomenon. All right, so if you find that you are having some weight gains or you're experiencing a significantly long plateau, this is more about fluctuations actually. This is more about like sudden weight gains and that. It is saying that as little as 1 almond can make the difference to you. 100 extra grams of food can account for 6 ounces. So like 1 ounce of food can account for 6 ounces of additional weight on the scale. All right, so it's saying stick to the 500 calories. So explaining this in its most basic form, what HCG is doing is it is causing your body to pull fat out of the cells and bring it into the bloodstream. Therefore, normally we eat food to get nutrients and calories into the bloodstream. So it's using this fat in lieu of the food you put in your mouth, and it's pulling the fat and it's using that to function, which is why you still have energy and still move around. I still go to the gym every day, and I do mild cardio. I don't sweat. I never really sweat anyway, but I do some elliptical stuff for a little bit, usually the recumbent elliptical, because it's not as much pressure on my heel. So I have a little bit of a heel problem. Sometimes I do the recumbent bike, but I try to be there minimum of 30 minutes of constant motion, cardio, and I have stayed for as long as an hour doing it on the machines there at the gym. Usually stop between 45 and 55 minutes is where I usually tap out and do something else. So yeah, I'm still doing that even though I'm on HCG because of the energy that I'm receiving from the fat that's coming into my bloodstream. Okay, so this is why you're restricted to only eating 500 calories, because you don't need to eat anymore. Your body has the nutrients it needs pulling from the fat sources in your body, which is thus causing you to lose weight because it's pulling from your fat reserves in your body. This is how it's all working. Okay. If, therefore, you're on HCG and your body's pulling from its fat reserves and it's saturating your blood with the amount of fats that it needs, and then you put in your body more than those 500 calories, then your body is inundated with extra calories that it doesn't need. At which point, your blood is going to need to kind of dilute this extra concentration of it, and it's going to have a greater volume, more water. Thus, it says that your blood is actually diluted, but there's more water that's being retained in your blood stream, and that's going to reflect on the scale. Of course, we can look at this as also temporary, but if you start eating all that food, your body's also not pulling as much from your fat reserves as well. And we want those fat reserves to be our main source of nutrition and energy. All right. I am not a medical professional. Let me say this again. I've said it in many videos. I don't think I remember to say it in front of every video, but it is clear I am a mom who has done HCG, and I have seen the results, and I'm sharing my experiences, and I've had so many people ask me so many specific questions about HCG, of which I have to keep saying, I don't know, I'm not a professional, So this is why I'm doing these videos, because this is the original protocol when the diet was developed back in the 1960s by Dr. Simeons, and I'm reading to you directly from the protocol, so that you can then take the information and make your own informed decision for yourself as to what you want to do and if you want to be on it, or to understand it more clearly why you would want to be on this diet. Okay, and who it works for and who it doesn't work for. It works for me. And how does it work for me? Okay, well, so I'll talk tomorrow that it's been a week, and I'll look at my numbers and see how much I've lost in the past week, understanding that it is the first week on a diet. And when the first week on the diet, usually you're more successful than in subsequent weeks. But that being said, I want to eat all the time. I have pretty much a ravenous hunger that I experience. Well, and then I also have a learned behavior of just wanting to eat a lot, often. So you put these together, a little bit more hunger than what the normal person has. The fact that I truly believe my stomach is larger than most people's. I can put down food. I mean, I would do really good at like one of those food eating contests, but I just can't do it really, really fast. I would never want to like compete with people, like, and it's gross the way they shove it in their mouth, and but if I had the time, I could probably go to one of those steakhouses where they give you like a steak the size of your head and say if you eat it all, then everyone at your table gets their meal for free. I could probably down that steak. I could probably have no problem putting that steak down. I remember when I was pregnant, I've told the story before, when I was pregnant with my first child, and I was talking to one of the teachers about how, she's like, oh, are you finding, any cravings? I'm like, oh, no, not really. I can eat anything and everything. I'm having no problem. I'm trying not to eat desserts because I know I'm going to be putting on weight anyway. So I'm trying to just eat regular foods. And stay away from sugars. But other than that, I can eat, but I could eat the sugar and the sweets, but I'm trying to like monitor. And then she goes, oh, don't worry. And I said, I keep hearing that people are, you can't eat as much because this baby's growing inside of you and it takes up space. She's like, oh, yeah. She goes, it'll press so much on your internal organs in your stomach. She goes, by the time you get to your third trimester, you are going to not be able to eat half of a sandwich or half of a burger or half of whatever you normally would eat before. You will not even be able to get to half of it. I just want you to know that the week before I gave birth to that child that I was pregnant with, my first one, I was with my husband and we were at McDonald's, and I had 2 double cheeseburgers and a fry the week before I gave birth. I have an unusually large stomach, I believe. And I'm very upset that when I had the ruptured appendix, that it was a ruptured appendix and not a scheduled procedure, because I swear I would have worked something out with the surgeon to staple my stomach just a little bit so it's not quite so big. So yeah, I can eat with the best of them. I can put it down. So when I first heard about this diet, I thought, no way. But then when I saw the results of my girlfriend and how much she lost, and how the two of us, our whole lives, have always been about the same weight and have always commiserated with different diet suggestions and ideas and like how to lose weight, and she was able to do it, that's was the motivating factor to make me do it. But I thought, I don't know how I'm going to make it eating 500 calories. That's just completely out of the realm of possibility. And here we are, that time as well as this time. I am not hungry. I'm not hungry. As long as I'm taking my drops morning, noon, and night, I can have that meal in the middle of the day. And usually, when I have that meal, I'm not even that hungry. And it does say somewhere else, and I'll talk about this in another video, that you don't have to eat all the food that's on the protocol, that you can eat less than what he prescribes. But the process of eating and the taste of food is such an enjoyable part of my life that I'm not sacrificing that. All right, so I expounded at the very end of this more than I expected to. I hope that's informational to you. If you have any questions about it, put it down below. Please like and subscribe to this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.